We are recording, yada yada ha. Hello, welcome to Channeling. Of course, my name is Gwen Juvenal. Today I've got a lovely episode for you with my friend Thomas Ercanbrack, who is a local healer, and he is kind of new to the healing arts as far as in this life is concerned, and also is just really a phenomenal man who's really supportive of people in their healing journey. So this episode was clipped together from a really long interview that I had with him that was rife with a lot of technical difficulties. So you will maybe feel some of that as I've tried to clip together some of these different parts of what we explored together. And there is a section where I do my channeling, and that was a part of our experience together. But it's a really beautiful channeling. I hope that you stick around. It's near the end of our episode. But in this episode, we're really going to be delving into how our unique journeys are important to be able to identify, how there are specific tools that we can lean into to help us walk through our experiences and opening into our multidimensional selves or our healing journeys. And also, how do we overcome fear when we open up wide into this new world? How do we manage? So, these are a few of the topics that we cover on this episode of Welcome to Channeling. Enjoy. Intergalactic beings of multi-dimensional realities. Welcome to Channeling. You know, we talk about things that are sacred. I believe that individual path is a sacred thing.
Nobody knows everything. Nobody has all the answers. Nobody knows exactly what is real. Because I could tell you what I believe and I could tell you what I believe to be true, but that might not work for your healing journey. And so, whatever works and makes it so your brain and your spirit can coincide and make things work for you, that's what's important. And it'll all wash out in the end. Right now, so many people are experiencing depression, anxiety, and all these things, and everyone is getting labeled with mental illnesses and given medications and all these things. People are waking up right now. People are
Yeah.
coming to power, whether they want to or not. It's just happening. And there are
Mm.
so many people that are empaths and that are attuned to things and sensitive to things. That is what you are feeling. This is not all yours. So many people are taking on what is not theirs. There's people like me out there that can help with that. People are welcome to come to me or someone else. I don't care who you go to, but learn about being an empath if you feel you're an empath. Learn about recognizing what emotions are yours and what you're taking on from others. If you're hearing voices, I've had clients that have come to me telling me that they're schizophrenic, but they're not. They're just really tapped into the other side and the voices they're hearing. I mean, not to say there's not such a thing as real schizophrenia because it is real,
There is,
but
yeah.
most people experiencing these things, they're not schizophrenic. They're just really tapped into the other side. And there is so much out there, so many possibilities. There's different universes, there's different entities, there's so many things that if the general public knew everything that you and I know, they would probably go insane just with the very knowledge of it. But it is all true, and there's so much out there. And if you're tapped into the other side and you're hearing things, don't be afraid of it. Get some knowledge, watch some YouTube videos, do some research, talk to people that know about these things, holistic
Mhm.
practitioners. Get in touch with those things, but don't be afraid of it because it is
Mhm.
there to serve your higher self.
you've taken the words right out of my mouth. In essence, I mean, there's you're reminding me too of a video that I've been wanting to produce, several videos around overcoming fear, because
Hmm.
when people open, and I've been working with someone specifically who someone literally learned how to open people's third eyes and did this on her. And it was like the most scary thing. She had the
Hmm.
most scary interactions. She did not know what was going on. And she is the most angelic, amazing, beautiful person. I mean, she's just so lovely, but so caught up in fear, and this fear of trying to see if she's protected and trying to interpret everything that's going on with
Hmm.
her. And if that is experience that you're having, if you're opening and you're having all of these experiences and you're like, I don't know what to do, the key thing, and this is something that is so central for people who are opening, is learning how to connect deeply with their sovereign self, their deep
Hmm.
light, their knowledge, their intelligence, and overcoming the fear through curiosity, because we
Hmm.
have to let our nervous system down and
Yeah.
reset, and us to be in a space, and people who are around us who can be supportive help us, guide us through, so that we can feel that connection, we can feel our sovereignty. And sure, we can be getting information from outside, but we are also informing our world. And it's
Hmm.
important that we make that switch and that acknowledgement to balance the both of them, to know, yes, I'm being informed, but I am informing the world
Yeah.
through me and what energy I'm deciding to be with. And if I can lift from fear into curiosity, which is much higher and much more open, that's the whole point. I mean, just being able to learn that that's a principle. Fear holds us like this. It reduces our idea of our choice. It is this feeling of we're not in control. I hear the lovely cries happening in your
Yeah.
world. But if we can step up and open up into curiosity, our world becomes much larger. It
And
becomes
it's
much,
it's so important, especially for a person that is an empath, because
yeah,
empaths don't understand that a lot of empaths, not just are we taking things in, when you take too much in and you hold that in, there's always going to be a release. And as an
yeah,
empath, when you release, you're not just releasing with words or anger or things like that, but your emotions hold power and you can project that out to others. I accidentally did that myself last night. I was bouncing my baby, and 2 years was doing something, and I was really struggling, and I went to yell at her, and it was interesting because I didn't just yell, but I raised my voice, but I accidentally put energy behind it, and it wasn't because I raised my voice at her. It was the energy I put behind it, and it wounded her. And even for people that are experienced with this stuff, we can accidentally do things like that. So it's
yeah,
really important to recognize if you're holding things in, it's going to come out eventually. And the question is, who's going to get hurt by it? Because it's not going to be just you. It's going to be the people you love the most.
yeah. And we say this not to be mean or warn and say you're going to now hurt people, and
Right.
then people become tired.
Sorry. Yeah.
It's to help support you in knowing to find ways to be in a space that you
Mm,
can softly open, and you can
yeah.
release those
Let
things
things
that
go
you've
in
been holding.
increments.
Yeah,
Yeah. Let
yeah,
things increments. Don't wait till it gets to an explosive level, which is what
yeah,
most people do, because that's what we're taught. We hold things in. We don't let things out. We don't be vulnerable. We don't be emotional.
yeah,
But it's not true. And especially for men, that is so not true. We need to be vulnerable. We need to be open to these things. We need to allow the emotions to just flow over us. It doesn't mean you have to go to therapy. It doesn't mean you have to sit there and analyze every single emotion you have. Most emotions is just let them wash over you. Let them just be
true.
there. And just
Yeah,
your subconscious is going to process most things.
yeah,
So, our subconscious is so powerful, and our higher self will process those things. but just recognize and ask, is this mine or is this someone else's? If
Yeah.
it's yours, let it wash over you. You can identify where it's coming from or not. It doesn't matter, but don't hold it in. And if it's
Mm.
not yours, push it out. What's mine is mine. What's yours is yours. That's the most important
Yeah.
phrase.
That's a beautiful thing. And I think this is a tool that people can use right now. And I'm
Hmm.
talking with my hands, is that we can ask, we can ask, is this mine or is this
Hmm.
others that I'm holding or that I'm feeling? And of course, we can just simply say, I allow this to release, I allow this to flow through me. But something that we can do if we're feeling the resistance of feeling an emotion is simply, I allow myself to feel this in my body. I allow myself to feel it and to gain whatever it is that I get to gain. Maybe there's an
Hmm.
understanding of, oh, I felt unsafe at that point, and I
Right.
didn't recognize it. I didn't acknowledge it. And it's that simple. And it can be
Right.
that simple,
And
right?
that's an important point there also is sometimes our emotions and sometimes those feelings we get are there to warn us of something, are there to
Mhm.
identify something. Because especially say you're out at the store and and you don't even have to be an empath for this to happen, but for empaths especially, you can be walking through the store, walk past someone. If your biofields, your auric fields have crossed in any way, if you're within 6 feet of someone, and you pass by that person and there's been an energy exchange and you might be picking something up and all of a sudden you get really anxious and you need to identify, okay, is this mine or is this someone else's? And it might be that you're getting anxious because you're needing to identify, well, okay, that person is probably not a safe person to be around, and I need to go down this aisle instead. And it might
Mhm.
not mean you're in imminent danger, but it's just your higher self identifying that there is possibly a risk there, or you might be picking something up in that energy exchange.
Mhm. Now,
You just,
these things are really subtle things that I talk about discernment being a big part of our life right now. And
hmm,
discernment is different than judgment. A judgment is often
yes,
something that divides. Judgment is often something that is used as a way to box something in a certain way and then for
put
you to
something in
see
a
something
box.
different. Yeah. And discernment is more of an exploratory, open exchange of, I'm allowing intelligence to help inform me and help me understand more fully what the possibilities
Hmm.
of what could be happening are,
Right.
right?
You might be near someone and get the heebie jeebies from them, but it
Yeah.
might just be that they're having a really bad day, but they're an awesome person.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the way you're saying is not put a judgment based off that feeling you're getting from them, but discerning what that might be. Because it just might be that you might be the person to turn that person's day around for them and
Yeah.
being open
And
to the possibility.
I love that. And I think a part of it is with judgment and people who have a tendency when they're stuck in that energy, as they say, oh, well, how dare I judge that person for being evil? Now I'm going to judge them and say they're this way. Well, no, that's not the point.
Hmm.
The point is to step off of the judgment into curiosity and openness and say, oh, maybe something's happening here that I don't understand. Can I feel safe now? Do I feel safe now? Can I feel my own safety? Can I feel that? And can I open to maybe some further understanding?
Right,
So it's a different attitude, because in that discerning, you are acknowledging, oh, I'm number one in sovereignty. Can I feel myself in my purity and my safety? And then am I open to receiving more information? Is there something for me to see right now? Is there something to
right.
be and so I talked many years ago. I was talking with someone who lived far away, and we were talking about fear. And he asked, "Well, what happens? What do you do when fear comes?" And I said, "Well, to me, fear is a sign of being more aware. It's a sign to
Hmm.
me to say to become more aware, to look to open instead of coming up into the fear response." Into the fear response, you could say, is acknowledging fear, but then also being able to use my choice and say, oh, I this means that I am not maybe this is something, an energy that I don't know or I don't understand quite yet. And I'm uncomfortable. And it's fine to be uncomfortable. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong. But
Yeah.
at the same time, is there something for me to be more aware of right now? And so there's this
Hmm.
opportunity that I see that we can do. Number one, we can acknowledge when we are afraid, we can acknowledge it. It's okay. But at the same time, using that in that fear, choosing that, saying it'll have power over me to go into that response
Yeah.
is a different thing than honoring it and allowing it to flow.
Well,
And
and
that,
it's really dangerous because so many people, when they start feeling those things, they get caught up in the idea, what is wrong with me? What's going on? What is, what can I do? And the whole idea of what is wrong with me, I just I have an absolute problem with that.
yeah,
Because it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you when you're starting to feel these emotions, you're starting to pick up on others. It doesn't, you're starting to feel anxiety or depression. That doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. That means there's something right with you. That means you're open to things. You're just not processing it. You're just not being intentional with it. So it's
mhm,
about learning intentional. Everything, this is the number one thing I teach my kids, and I will teach anyone, is it's all about intention. Life is about intention. What you allow in, you can intentionally allow in what you want and push out what you want. Can intentionally shield yourself. You can intentionally say, I'm going to take these emotions and I'm going to identify what I can gain from them, instead of saying, oh, I feel like crap today. I'm so depressed. Oh, I can't go out because I'm feeling anxious. No, come on. Allow it
yeah,
all to work with you. Don't think there's something wrong with you. Think there's something right with you, and just
yeah,
don't take it in and make it part of you, but learn from it, grow from it, become one with it.
yeah. A big thing that's been going through me is always looking at what is the opportunity here for me, right?
Hmm.
What is the opportunity that I can learn from? Is there a way I can grow? Is there something I can gain a skill in? Can I
Yeah.
mature in? Oh, this gives me an opportunity to help me understand how to relate to others better. Oh, this gives me an opportunity to understand how I might support people, show support, or be
Hmm.
a good friend, whatever it is.
Well,
This opportunity is important for us to understand.
yeah. I mean, if you believe in a higher power, whether it's God, the universe, multiple gods, whatever it is you believe, you also have to believe there's an order to things. And when it comes to that, things do truly happen for a reason. Sometimes bad things happen for a reason, and it's hard to reconcile that. But most things are put in our path, so that we can learn and grow, because that's really what we're here for, right? I mean, not everything, but one of the main things we're here for is this experience in this life is about learning and growing and bettering ourselves, and hopefully bettering the lives for people around us as well, because it's not just about us. We are a community. We are, there's this growing idea of we are all one consciousness, whether you believe that. Um, it's all, we're all put in this path for a reason, and different hardships and different things come into our path so that we can learn and grow from them. And you can choose to grow with it, or you can choose to downgrade and shut yourself off and be sitting in the gutter watching everyone else raise up.
Yeah,
or,
yeah,
or you can sit there and wait for the universe to kick your butt one way or the other, but you're probably not going to like it when that happens.
yeah. That's it's I'm glad you chatted about that, because I mean, even like yesterday I found myself in this space of just kind of being swallowed up in a lot of processing, right, that
Mhm.
was happening within my system. And um really, being in a space of recognizing, oh yeah, okay, I do need to get out and connect with nature more. Okay,
Mhm.
this is going to be
I'm feeling
this
that
is going to
too.
be helpful. Yeah, this is going to be helpful. Not only just symbolically is it very important, and it's a way of me and my language to connect with people and help them connect into energetically what we're doing here on this world. in this planet and what we're doing here, but also just literally being able to go out and be with a tree,
Hmm.
go out and take some really deep breaths, go out and reset myself. Sometimes I get
Hmm.
to reset myself in order to be here.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to say something else that might be controversial, but you know what? If you're feeling one day like you would just want to have a pity party, you're feeling a day just to be sad or just to be angry, do it. Take a day if you need to.
Mm,
That's part of there. It is okay to have, a couple hours or a day where you just want to feel sorry for yourself because that's still part of you just processing things. And it is
yeah,
okay. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do that. If someone tells
yeah,
you, well, don't be pitying yourself, well, it doesn't mean sit there for days at a time and wallow in it. Don't get addicted to that feeling. But if you need time just to feel that and let it wash over you, then just do it. It's okay. It's okay
yeah,
to feel those emotions and just let them, if you want to sink into depression for a couple hours and just feel sad, go for it. But just be intentional about it that this is what I'm doing. I'm intentionally sitting with this for a while and I'm going to pull out and then do what you need to pull out of it. Like Gwen's saying, go out in nature. That's always a great one. You know, surround yourself with loving people. Just do whatever you need to do. Just be very intentional, mindful with who and what you surround yourself, whether that's the people you surround yourself, what music you listen to, what movies you're watching, because there's a lot of trash out there, a lot of things that are designed specifically to draw you in, to keep you dumbed down, to keep you interacting with things that don't serve you. So
mhm,
just be intentional with everything.
yeah. I think we've got a theme going on here of intention today.
But
Yeah.
something I've been working on lately, not only with other people, but with myself, is identifying the fact that we traumatize ourselves more than other people traumatize us. Because when we do things that is either out of character or not true to our higher selves, we're traumatizing ourselves because we're not
Mhm.
living true to ourselves, and that is creating a trauma in and of itself. And
Yeah.
so it's just about being true to who you are, no matter what that looks like, or no matter what waves that causes, or who doesn't like you for it. They don't like you for
Yeah.
it. They don't need to be in your sphere anyway.
I find it interesting what you're bringing up because during one of the sessions that I had with you, one thing that came up was really one of the big healings that got to happen was actually me forgiving myself. It was
Hmm.
about me forgiving myself.
Got to remember that.
And yeah, and it was like along with it, there was this self-judgment and this inner struggle that it continues to last and last. It's like it's trying to figure out how I could have been better in that moment, right?
Hmm.
What what new intelligence, what brighter version of me could have done in that moment.
Hmm.
And it's always happening. Of course, I think part of this is part of us as intelligences. We're working out are really divine ways of expressing here on earth. But at the same time, there was this judgment and this sorrow within myself that I couldn't be at that moment, that I wasn't at that moment my highest self. Like
Hmm.
I felt the limitations of myself, and there was this huge sorrow surrounding that. It's like, oh, I want to be this amazing thing that can handle this, that can take on this challenging thing, but I am not capable right now. And it's like, oh, I had to
Hmm.
forgive myself that I wasn't in the
Right.
space that
And
I could.
yeah, and it's also so important not to judge yourself for it because we're
Yeah.
going to make mistakes. Mistakes are part of learning. And when you make mistakes, you do something stupid, I don't care how big it is, not to take that in as a judgment on yourself because if you're going to learn, if you can learn from it and move on, that's all that matters. We're going to have bad days, we're going to have good days, and allowing ourselves the space to not judge ourselves, but to have those bad, recognize that it's okay, and allowing ourselves to just have those bad days is okay too, to make mistakes, That's what we teach the children. My 18-year-old, he'd probably kill me if he knew I was saying this, but he's so afraid to get out and experience life because he doesn't want to make mistakes, because
Yeah.
he doesn't want to get a driver's license because he's afraid he's going to go out there and make a mistake and hurt someone. But you know
Yeah.
what? That's part of life. We make mistakes, and not judging ourselves for those mistakes, but learning from them is so essential.
Yeah. I think
And
for me,
always forgiving ourselves for those mistakes.
yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing you're talking about this, but I think the opportunity for me was being able to see into really the deep care that I have, right?
Hmm.
Like the core intent, right? And being able to go get past that fear of hurting another and being with that core intent is empowering. It empowers
Hmm.
me to know, okay, well, how can I learn to be better? Like, oh, I can see these areas I was afraid of exploring, but could actually help me benefit myself and others even more. You know, it's that
Yeah.
fear that's holding us back, but being able to reach down and come into that recognition of our light and our true desire, our true love, that can help us expand and open up beyond that fear and say, oh,
Right.
I'm so hurt because I want to do better. I'm so hurt. I feel so bad because I really want my light to be loving and I want to be doing good to others, right? So I think the challenge is a lot of us get stopped before we recognize our
Right.
true intent and the light that we really are.
Yeah.
We get stopped in that fear. Yeah. For me, I think there's a point of this of, the honoring of the experience. I wasn't planning on talking about this. This is interesting. The honoring of the experience, because in the experience, this is where a maturation happens. This is where we gain the experience to know, oh, this works, oh, this doesn't, oh,
Hmm.
when I'm in fear, this happens. Oh, do I actually have any power? And while I'm in fear, what is my choice? What is turning to light feel like? What is, what is all of this? And
Hmm.
I think honoring, giving people space enough to have that experience is actually their honoring their maturation,
Right.
honoring honoring an important aspect of them to be able to stand on their 2 feet and be able to say yes and no, and this is what's
Well,
true.
in the work I've been doing when I meet people at events and stuff, yeah, it's so important to just know what serves you. And I tell people it's not about the religion. You can be in religion or step out of it. It doesn't matter who you follow or what belief you follow. The most important thing is being true to your higher self, raising that vibration, being true to your higher self, and finding what your path in life is, what your true calling in this life is. I'm going to be starting a YouTube channel really soon here, and I'm going to be doing a lot of videos on stuff about that and helping people understand, because I think it really is super important. Like we were talking about earlier with, empaths and learning how to shield and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
you saw, the market Sunday, those ladies I was talking to. The one thing that kept coming up with each person I was talking to is learning how to process those things and not let everything in.
Yeah.
Um, because it's not just people, it's
Mhm.
all the shifting energies of the world, of the universe, of the planet itself. Everything is shifting and everyone is just taking it all in, and it's building up, and it's going to turn into a nuclear explosion if more awareness is not put out there for people to learn how to handle these things.
Yeah, and I think there's different levels of how we work with ourselves.
Hmm.
Sometimes people really need to know how to shield. Other times people are in a maturation around knowing how to transmute, you know. And so everyone's in a little bit different phase, but I think especially when we're just opening to these things, understanding some of these tools is so
Yeah.
important.
Well, and taking
So
your time
important.
with it, not trying to rush
Yeah.
into understanding everything at once, because the what is really out there and what is possible is mind blowing. I've been dealing with this for a while now, and I still don't fully grasp everything. I still don't see everything. And I'll tell you from my own experience, if you try and rush into understanding everything all at once, it's gonna either lead to severe frustration or a psychosis.
And I can understand that. For me, I'm actually really grateful that it was over 25 years ago that I opened, and that
Yeah.
I had years where I would sit and I would read high conscious material. I could feel the level of consciousness, and I was just soaking it in and opening myself to the level of consciousness that I had that amount of time. And the amount of time I had sitting and meditating and learning all these things, I am super glad that I've had that, because I wouldn't have been able to jump in like I do now. But
Yeah.
there are people who are, the young generation, I think, are really advanced individuals that are coming in.
Right.
They're super amazing. But at the same time, you need some supports.
Yeah.
I'm referring to a lovely lady that I'm working with also. It's like, one of these tools that's important is knowing how to truly ground. And for her, I could give her exercises, but I asked, you get to find that for yourself. And for
Hmm.
her, how she knew how to ground is she imagined she would sit cross-legged, and she would imagine someone else sitting cross-legged with her. And that's the most effective way that she knew how to ground. Like, that is totally unique to her.
Yeah.
Right. And like, I was working with her on clearing her energy systems and stuff like that. And it's like, of course, my guides and her guides helped inform me, said, have her work on energetically cleaning a tree. And to her, instantly, that was
Yeah.
so effective for her. Right. And
Well,
so
and
there's going to be different things that we learn that will be different for
yeah.
everyone, you know?
Well, it's just when I teach people a lot. I encounter people and teach them how to do things as an empath. And the one thing
Yeah.
I always tell people though is I'm going to teach you how I do it. I
Yeah.
don't want you to feel like you have to do it because there's all these programs out there and there's all these people teaching things and they tell you you have to do it this exact way or it won't work. And that's bollocks.
Yeah.
You take what you learn and you find out what works for you. I'm going to teach you how to do something, but I don't want you to do it exactly like I do it unless that's what works for you. I want you to
Yeah.
take what I teach you and make it your own because it's once again, it's about intention.
Yeah. And
So
that
find out what
intention,
works for you.
yeah, that intention has to be, it comes in. And this is something that, what I love about my first book, Our New Story, is like, you go through these processes, but at the end, really, the guides say, you get to enter into your own experience and
Hmm.
ask what,
Yeah.
what what was going to work for you. They talk about it like play. They say, what is your play going to be? How does it look for you? What's going to be most effective for you? And inviting in that intelligence to help inform you as to what is going to help you the most at the moment. And it will shift and change according to your advancement and your maturation and your understanding and whatever works. But this is the most important thing is, and I talking to her, is like, you get to find what your recipe is.
Hmm.
Like, but the intention is, oh, I understand that grounding is an important essential tool. This is what I can do. How can I ground? And then I open up and I learn what works best for me. Maybe I expose myself to different things. Maybe I feel in deeper. What's my way that's going to help me the most to ground? So the principle is the grounding, but we get to learn how we can do that with ourselves. That's where our intention comes in. I intend to learn how to ground in the most effective way for myself.
Yeah.
This is my intention. How do I do that? How can I do
Right.
that? Right.
Yeah. As well, when I first started on my journey, and the thing is, you've had 25 years. I've only had a year.
Yeah.
I just started the healing journey a year ago, and I just started learning all this, and I had no one to teach me anything. I mean, I got my Reiki master on an online course. I had a live person do my attunements,
Yeah.
and the funny thing is, I spent a lot of money on that, but I rarely even use Reiki anymore. But it was needed. It was a stepping stone. But I did not have anyone to guide me. The only thing I had my wife, but we didn't speak the same language. And so we were at odds with that. Every time she'd try and tell me something, I'd come back, did you know about this? I was so excited. I learned something new. Did you know about this? And she's like, I tried telling you that. Well, you didn't use the right words.
Yeah.
And this is that it is really important, if you can, to find someone to help guide you, but do
Yeah.
not ever go with anyone that tells you it has to be this way. Everyone's
Yeah.
energy moves differently, everyone learns differently, everyone manifests things differently. You do not have to subscribe to anyone's way of doing anything. You learn from them, you learn how to do things, and if you feel good with how that is, go with
And the process of healing. And there's a message for people who are opening in these ways. And I'm feeling kind of this emotional fear. A lot of people feel sometimes it's kind of this unknown. And did I do something wrong? These thoughts that can come in. You talked about that too, Thomas. Is there something wrong with me, right? Ah, yes. Here comes the channel. Here we go. Ah, yes, Gwen, we would love to speak of this. And of course, you have had much inspiration concerning this, for you have walked through these troubling thoughts yourself. These thoughts of, am I wrong? Did I do something wrong? Am I broken? These sincere thoughts, which are birthed through a core loving nature of people. Yet you interpret through these eyes that are so limited. You interpret through these brains that are so limited, through thoughts that you have inherited, and through thoughts which are polarized often, which believe in light, dark, good, bad, trying to decipher and understand what life is, how one may be safe, how one may live a full and vibrant life. And so this is a beautiful yet tricky process. One, yes, that you must use discernment in. All of you growing, maturing, establishing a new intent for your life rather than one of simply survival, of feeling approved of. You loving and approving of your inherent self, even the self that is immature, that lacks knowledge, that is innocent and ignorant at times. You loving and acknowledging the process you are undergoing, and at the same time owning your true, pure light, the seed that you are, the spark that you are. And as you do this, your identity or your sense of identity will shift and change. You will feel expanded, and you will have and gain the understanding that not only are you being held, but you are holding yourself. And you will acknowledge that you can invite in and express the love that you wish and you desire your world to be. This is an important step in your maturation. And so there are many ways that people come unto this. Gwen has discovered in her life many, many years of meditation have been a support in her stepping through and understanding this gap, of filling this gap, of understanding you are not one or the other, but yes, you are one and the other, and you are both at the same time. It is simply acknowledging your sphere of experience, your viewpoint, that is so essential in your experience in life. You acknowledging your agility to stand at different viewpoints and still, from these viewpoints, ask what may be done to help support, and love all around you. And this is the signal which will help you feel grounded. It is your connection to all that is, you not making you sovereign above others, but you being a part of all that is. This is the differentiation which will assist you in becoming and feeling most fulfilled in your life. We speak this to Gwen and many of you who will be here listening at this time, for you have opened, you have broken through into a different sphere of existence. All of these many voices that you hear, all of these many what may be considered entities that you experience, they are not here in a rage against you. They are here exclaiming that we are all one, that you are much more than what you believe and see yourself to be. And as you embrace this larger you, you will be able to mature and manage. Just as when you were born on this earth, you as an infant, you learned how to walk. And we do not criticize ourselves for having bruises and bumps along the way. No, we encourage ourselves as we mature to gain the experience needed for us to become strong and then become supports to others. This is the process of maturation, and we encourage all of you along your way. There are many tips, there are many tools you may use, but inherently, you knowing yourself as the light, as the seed, as the one who can own themselves in their sovereignty and also your innate nature of expansion, this is an important thing for you to come to know so that you, in your explorations, will feel grounded. You will be able to alchemize all that you experience into this love, and therefore you will become successful at your experience here on this earth. We say successful because this is what we have come to do. All those are who are here. You have come to experience this process and then offer it to all that is. We are grateful for you and what you are doing here, and we encourage you in love and light. This we leave with you in love and light. Aho. Perfect. We're promoting intention today here on Welcome to Channeling. Intention, intention, intention.
Yes.
I love it. I just really, the last few episodes and things that I've covered really have talked a lot about intention. Attention, intention, and desire, or our devotion and what we're devoted to. And these kind of things are really keys, I think, in a part of how we evolve. If we really key them in together and we tune and bring them all together, are what our devotion is, what our attention is on, what our intention is. Like all of these things support each other. And I think this is to me, this is kind of the beautiful trinity of understanding of, and our desire, D's desire and devotion, desire being connected into that devotion. You know, all of these things together, working together, is a beautiful complex that we can work with, and we can understand. Oh, this is a powerful kinetic synergy. We're talking about synergy that can work together to help us expand and evolve in beautiful ways. And I've studied, like, you know, levels of consciousness and everything else like that, which is, I think, an important thing. We're talking about people who are opening to these new realities, opening to their wider sense of what is. And I think understanding consciousness and how our consciousness level can shift dramatically how we're perceiving the world is a really important thing, I think, for people to understand and see into. If you haven't, if any of you are opening and you haven't checked out David Hawkins' Transcending Levels of Consciousness or any of his other books, he walks you through different levels of consciousness for you to be able to identify what's really happening, where you're really at. Because every level of consciousness, you can't say, oh, well, I'm better because I've transcended a level of consciousness, and that means I'm infallible. Every level of consciousness, in a sense, has a weakness. Every
Mhm.
level of consciousness has a blind spot, but every level of consciousness, as you transcend, you're expanding your sense of identity. You're expanding your sense of love and oneness and connection to all that is. And so as you descend, you're cutting yourself off, you're restricting yourself, you're not acknowledging your choice. And so it's good to just simply acknowledge and see what really is available to us to experience, because there's such a wide variety of what we can experience in life.
Yeah.
It's
So
so
many possibilities out there.
so large. Yeah, it's so large.
Yes.
Um, well, thank you so much, Thomas, for spending this
Yes.
time with me. I think we're going to end up here, and wish you the best in your day. And let's tell everyone how they can connect with you before we leave. And
Yeah. So my website, blissfulminds.life. You can go to my website there. My phone number is on there, or you can just connect with me on Facebook, which is just Blissful Minds. It's the one with the Om symbol. um, or you can just Thomas Ercanbrack as well. I'll put that out
perfect,
there.
perfect. And we'll put that in,
But
the synopsis.
I just recently perfected doing my work remotely as well. So I want to open space for anyone that is not able to travel to me and wants to have a session with me. I can do that remotely as well.
Definitely reach out to Thomas, and
And
I can vouch
I want
for
to say
the
also
experience.
that whether you come to me or someone else, I really don't care. Just if you feel called to be on a healing path, get some help, get on that path, and get true to yourself. That's all I care about.
Yeah. Sending love to all of you who are listening, who've joined us. Thank you for spending your time with us today. And please make sure to give us a thumbs up, write a comment below. Just tell us how we've impacted your life, and that will impact our life in a beautiful way.
Absolutely.
So let's keep it rolling, showing support to each other in our lives. And once again, you can always reach me at gwenjuvenal.com, and I'm here for you as well. So sending love and light to all who are listening and watching, and we'll see you next time on Welcome to Channeling. Click the link below to receive your very own free soul play meditation, reboot, or soul song. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Welcome to Channeling. Till the next episode, own your stage and play on. Hot Muffin Media.